coming up. This is a Soul Fire production.
Alrighty, here we are, episode 32 of the Native Overstayer Podcast. They say the early bird gets the worm, it does. And I think we're the early birds because we've got the big worm, the legendary Monty Betham. How are you, sir?
Very good, thanks, brothers. Looking around the walls and I'm seeing a lot of big worms that make me feel like a very little worm, but some beautiful history on your walls, man, and it's great to finally be in your company and talk, man. 32.
32.
Wow.
I know. But Monty, thank you very much for coming in, dude. I know you're a very busy man. And we definitely appreciate your time. It's good to have you here, brother.
Awesome, great to be here. Love what you guys are doing, man, for our people of Pacifica blood and heritage, and letting them know that there's a number of them out there doing wonderful things, you know, and if there's someone who takes something from one of these episodes that you've done, and this is number 32, well, that's awesome.
Yeah, thank you, bro. Thank you, I appreciate it. Jack, you have an opening question for the young fella?
I guess just Monty, what are you up to these days, mate? What sort of takes up your time apart from family and all that sort of stuff?
Yeah, very much like you boys, man. It's the family, eh? That's the main thing. That's the last thing on my mind before I get to bed, and the reason I get up in the morning, and everything I do as an individual is sort of one way or another linked back to them, and they're the big reason as part of my why and why I want to do things.
Yes.
It's funny, early on in your life, you think about all the goals, and it's always around what you can do for yourself as an individual. And the older you get, it gets more based around your why, and it's because a quality of life for your family, quality of life for your parents, everything like that, and how you can contribute. But also what you guys are trying to do is a quality of life, or a chance on a platform where possible to give back to our people, to let them realise and let them be able to believe that what we can do and what a lot of us have done is very possible for the person that was sitting in the back of the room. I remember being down at Marston College and talking there one afternoon, and years later, having worked with Joseph Parker, I realised that he was one of those people in the room at that time, hearing me speak, and then coming on and referring back to that and talking about that time and thinking that, you know, if I could do it, then someone like him, he could do it. And when I heard that he went to Marston College, and this was back in the day, and we had a bit of a golf tournament on, and we had David Tour, and we had Shane Cameron, and we had other sort of celebrities come down. I think he was 18, and he had just made the Commonwealth team. I said, also, come down, man, come down. I heard you from Marston College. I want to take you under my wing and introduce you to a few people and let you understand of what it's sort of like to network and carry on. And now he's one of the best networkers in the world. Because he's genuine, though. He's so genuine, you know, and he's the people's champ. And that's just another story that you never know who's in the room, or you never know who's watching and what they can take from it. You know, maybe one little bit of advice. As a kid growing up, everything was about what you could do for you, but then when you get a little bit older and you lose hair and you get a bit wiser, it's what can you do for your people. Your people being so many people around, you know, Pacifica, family, friends, whatever, Ainga, so.
Speaking of you as a young man, that's how I met you. You were a young fella back in an old workplace back in the very early 90s.
Yes.
Very handsome young fella back in those days. Not that you've changed too much, bro.
Right, it's an aged.
I know. It was the same size, mate. Same size. Looked exactly the same.
Nice.
And we used to have discussions there, and your ambition was to get into the Warriors, which pretty much a newly formed team, and that was your goal, and you did it, man. You did it.
Yeah.
I used to see a couple of years later, say, almost there, bro. Yeah, man, almost there, another couple of steps. And then that became your platform, where you basically used your experience and your skills at the Warriors, and then...
Absolutely, man. That was the original one, right? But that's the thing, you know, when like yourself, having been there and being accountable to people like yourself as well, whether you know that or not, it's like, you know, we had that journey on the way, talking to you, and you helped me not so much light the fire, but keep that fire going and just keep feeding that fire. How you doing, man? You're taking interest in someone, right? So when you're out there and when you've got people doing wonderful things, you should always take interest in them and always not keep them accountable, but let them know that you've got interest in what they're doing and you believe in what they're doing.
Investment.
And you're invested on their journey as well, and that all helps because it helps with the belief that that individual has got. But yeah, that Warriors one, that's a platform. You know, I was lucky enough to captain the Warriors and play over 100 games, but you know, that almost never happened a number of times. You know, there was a few times. You know, like let's go back to being under 19s. I was with David Solomona, Ty Sevilla. We were three of the guys. Rest in peace, decisive here too. We had 3 of the players who have made junior Kiwis. I was junior Kiwi captain, junior Warriors captain at the time. Things were going really well. I was full time as a 19-year-old player. But then I hurt my knee and I got injured, and then Frank Endicott came in as the overall coach. And then one afternoon, all my dreams and aspirations of playing for the Warriors and the Kiwis were shattered, man, because Frank was also the Kiwis coach.
Nice.
He brought me into the office at the end of the year, and he told me that I was no longer needed next year. He was still going to be the captain. I was still going to be the coach. So in one afternoon, man, from being this young guy who's mixing with, Matthew Ridge and Stacey Jones and Stephen Kearney, living out that dream that you were speaking about, and we thought that I was on my way to doing, almost never happened, man. He told me, he goes, look, if I'm here, you're gone. And at that stage, there was talk that Mark Graham was going to come in. And when I referred to other kids and I talked to them about it, I talk about my goal setting as 3 Ps. First is your purpose, the last thing on your mind before you go to bed, the reason why you get up. The next one is the process, which is the easier one, right? Because you can sort of find out what needs to happen to take the right path to get there. If you know how to get from point A to point B, that's great. It gives you some stepping stones, and if you get from there, you can go to find new places to go. The last one is perseverance, and if you knock on the door and that door doesn't open, what do? You're going to walk away. The longer you knock on the door, the more noise you make. Gives you the best opportunity of someone coming to open it, or you busting that door down, right? So I was in that sort of situation also where I was like, oh wow, man, this dream of mine, which is so close, is potentially gone. I've got to go home and tell my parents, got to go home and tell people, my wife now, my girlfriend at the time, that, man, this guy that was junior Kiwi captain, junior Warriors captain, protected player, is no longer wanted. That's a hard story to tell.
Professional sport.
Oh man, yeah, exactly. But back then, everyone it was more personal because you didn't realise it was part of the game, because it was sort of new professional sport to rugby league.
Sure.
When everyone had the off season and they went and they got on the drink and they partied and they went away on holiday, I decided not to go away on holiday. I stayed there. I lived in that gym for that period of time, and did what I needed to do to upskill, to get fitter, to get stronger, to be in the best possible position for that following year, to make an impression on Mark Graham. And then I added another P to that, which was a prayer that Frank was going to be the coach next year. Thankfully, man, that prayer worked. He wasn't the coach. Mark Graham came in, and even that in itself was another story of having to go through an ACL and play through that and get that contract with Frank. But I don't want to bore you with that. But so the dreams and aspirations of some people that you see out in their platforms doing wonderful things is one thing, and you go, wow, man, they're lucky or they're this. But what you don't know is the backstory to what happened. Like you yourself being overseas playing, and it's a lot involved. So sometimes when you look at it, someone who's achieved in any lane, not just sport, whatever it is, sometimes you got to take a moment to sit back and think about it and go, man, what have they been through, and why do they enjoy and embrace the success so much? Because what comes so hard should be embraced, and you should enjoy it, man. Because some hard times out there.
There's very few athletes or anybody really that gets stuff given to them, directly on the plate. There's always a lot of hard work and a lot of sacrifice, and also a lot of pain and maybe anger and sadness that goes on there. I mean, that's a great story, dude. I really love that story because we see Monty Betham, not a cocky dude, but you're very confident. You're out there on the field, you're beating up people on the league field. That's some of your classic footage. But you're also very confident out there on the field. But nobody knows that background story. And some kids that are talented might be going through that journey at the moment.
And I tell every kid that are out there, there's two things. Hard work beats talent when talent won't work hard. And that's what I lived on, man, and I thrived on that. That's why I get up in the morning and run when no one else was running. And I used to love it because I used to do it at a time when people were sleeping. Because hard work, man, there's no substitute for that, and it does beat talent when talent won't work. But if you've got talent, and I've seen them on the walls here, and you work hard, Sonny Bill Williams, you're a freak. So that's one thing, and I tell all the kids out there, man, don't just there's two of you out there. There's the talented ones and the ones that aren't so talented, but you want to work hard. So you can both be successful, which is awesome. But then you can absolutely be a freak like Sonny Bill Williams and so on, man. But that's the main thing, man. There's a process, and if want it hard enough, you can at least try. And if you don't quite get there, that's what you call productive failure. You don't get there, but along the way, you can still climb some heights and do some things that will make you better as a person, or help you enjoy the journey, right? Because not everyone's going to get there, man. Let's be real. Dreams are free, but reality isn't, man. The price you have to pay sometimes is hard.
Productive failure. I love
Productive
that.
failure, man.
Very good.
That's awesome.
Monty, how good was that 2002 season?
Look, it was good. That was the first year I got made captain. Unfortunately, I did my knee in the third game, so I was pretty much out for the season. I came back, I did my ACL, I was back for 18th man in the grand final, but didn't quite get on, and fair enough too, because you don't want to change a winning formula. But then I went away on the Kiwi tour that year. But that team, man, was a special team because like when we first came back in 2000, we heard of a new coach. They had 6 boards at training. Mick Watson was there. We had Matthew Ridge there, and I was on tour with Tour Samoa at the time. And there was 5 or 6 of us that went on the following year to play for the Kiwis, and we were hearing about what's happening. We're getting on the phone call with Daniel Anderson, and we were talking to him, and we were pretty excited, man, because a lot of us, we didn't want to play anywhere else. We wanted to play here. We were born and bred, and aspirations of doing wonderful things for this club, and we hadn't even made the playoffs or the finals. But what Daniel Anderson brought when he came in, he was that coach, and I think it was similar to the Wayne Bennett of the world, where that coach where you felt the love. There was a wealth of talent, man, young talent coming through. Shantae Hape, Motu Tony, Henry Fafili, Francis Melly.
Blending in with the more experienced players.
But what I loved about the 2002, then you bring in obviously Kevin Campion. Ivan Cleary, he was in the locker next door to mine. Kevin Campion came in early and he brought his rings, and I was just, man, this guy, that's what the ring looks like. And so the dreams and aspirations, no shortcuts, no shortcuts, make that good line. It's the walls, and that professionalism, and I think rubbed off on me and rubbed off on a lot of other people, and that's what we loved, along with the newfound new sort of skill sets that we could implement as a result of some really great coaching and sort of man management was huge for this team.
Because that 2002 team, I mean, that final was almost there, right? A few things that went against you guys, and I mean, Stacey Jones's try, that was
one of the best ever, man.
Best ever in the grand final.
Sure.
But Brad Fittler, right? So I watched Brad Fittler over the years. Want to pretend to be him at lunchtime, stepping off my left foot, all that type of stuff. I got his Australian jumper as well, his last one we played against, which was amazing, man. Signed by him. But when he would say something else, his team would just jump through hoops, man. He was amazing. I used to see him and watch him play. He just, we're talking about Justin Sutter, who's been on your podcast before, and his relationship with his athletes are amazing. When he says something, they listen, they respond, and that was like Brad Fittler. When he'd say something, everyone would respond and they'd jump through hoops. And if you think about that big time when Villasanti gave him the headbutt and came in, and then Freddie fired up, and you had Morley, and you had all the likes of other guys in that team, they responded. But that 2002 team, that line speed from the Roosters was amazing, man.
Really,
it was a team, like, even when you'd fight to get to the ground to play the ball, you get lifted up. It was a great team coached by a good man, Ricky Stewart. Going back to our boys, it was a big stage, and it was a nice mix. And then people forget that the following year, in 2003, we were one game off the grand final. And that was predominantly a New Zealand team, which was something that I really enjoyed as well. I think we only had a couple of Australians in that side, and so to me that was special. But from 2001, when we made the playoffs for the first time in the club's history, 2002, 2003, that was 3 years, and I don't believe any other Warriors team has done that back to back. And we had a really good culture there, and it was really good. And then when I was talking to Sione Famawina not so long ago, he was talking about the team we had, and he was talking about when he went over to see Wayne Bennett, and he was going, "What's happening over there?" And he goes, "What do you mean? You guys should have won 3 premierships by now." And I was like, "Oh, that hurts, man. That hurts." Because that's all we ever wanted to do was win premierships. And when you had a group of players who had the ability to do it, man, and predominantly Kiwi, it hurts.
Yeah.
Man, the skill sets, just the flair.
That's what happens when you play in probably the toughest competition in the world, right? Week in, week out. How many games do you guys play a year? 32 or something?
Yeah, I know. Well, that's if you play in the finals.
Yeah.
It's probably close to 30. But I'm biased. It's a pretty tough comp. But even now, today, and what they have to do, the speed of the game, the size of the athlete, the motor in the athlete, Payne Haas, Fafita. How can you do what they do? Tamalolo walls us. But and they're all that size, and they're all really good. So like when I look at the athlete of today, and also the social media and the eyes that are on them 24/7, man, it is hard. They deserve all that money that they get because the criticism and everything, is one of the greatest guys I believe right now who's Cameron Smith. 430 games. He's had over 300 wins in the NRL. He's played, I think almost 100 Origin and Test matches together combined. He's two off, so 98.
Wow, absolute
freak. We're not going to see that again because of the collisions, because of the way the game is played, because of the speed. It's hard, man. Like these guys are freaks.
If you saw Cameron Smith walking along a beach with his shirt off, you'd be like, well, who's
that?
Who's
An
that fella?
accountant. He's an accountant.
Yeah, put your shirt on, mate. Yeah. What do you think you are, a superstar league player?
Yeah, man.
But the man is smart. He's durable. Yeah. And he's just an amazing player. You watch him play even now today. He's aged obviously, so he knows where to go, how to go there, and who to pass the ball to.
No coincidence, man. That no one has won more games than him in the NRL.
Yeah.
And early on when you've got the players that he's had like Slater and Inglis and all these other guys, you go fair enough. But over the years, nothing has changed there. You got Bennett. He's the constant man. And don't forget, he's the first guy to touch that ball.
Yeah.
And what he does in and around that ruck area is huge. And then also, like we're talking about Brad Fittler and like Stacey Jones, when they say something, you listen, you respond, or when they say something, you've got that real genuine feel that what they say is gospel, and if you say it, it must be real. So I'm backing with you and going on it. But like he's, I love to hate him when he's playing for Australia, but when he's playing for Queensland, baby, wow.
But you have that connection, right? You're both hookers.
Yeah.
So you'll see the things that we don't see as casual observers of the beautiful game of rugby league,
but
right?
it's just even the stuff that I don't see and that I hear, because when I hear about all these people that I admire, and I get a chance to ask questions about them, and I just want to see what people from different walks of life or have their opinions on a certain person is, like Richie McCaw. I'm always trying to hear someone say something not bad, but just have a different point of view. Never heard one bad thing about Richie McCaw, from anyone. And I'm talking about players from different eras, players from different teams, even players against him or players on the same side. So I just thought, wow, okay. He's the real deal, man.
Sir Michael Jones is pretty much the same. No matter who you talk to about that young fella, there's not a bad word said about him. It's all respect, admiration, and just a good, decent person.
Oh, he's an amazing human from what he's done on the field, but off the field, and stuff that he doesn't get any credit for.
Yeah.
And he doesn't want any credit for it, man. He's just doing it because that's the man he is.
Yeah, humble man.
Yeah.
Humble.
What was it like to go over to Wakefield over in the UK after sort of being in the NRL?
Yeah. Like I said, I was never going to go there. I said, like, I was on the tour in 2002, and Gary Freeman was the coach, and he goes, "Oh, mate, when you come," I said, "Mate, never." Yeah. And he goes, "Never say never." And fair enough, I found myself over there. Yeah. To be honest, boys, I don't think I would have ever left the Warriors if it wasn't for some of the bad press I was getting at that time. That's from too much of the enforcer type role. That one occasion when I came out and there was a section of the crowd booing. I was like, ooh, and then my good mate David Solomona was over in Wakefield, and he goes, "Let's come over." And there's one thing as an athlete to go, I'm thick skinned, I can take this. Yeah. That's partly true, but it does hurt. But it hurts more when your family members take it, and they're sticking up for you. And then, because sometimes when they give you the feedback as an athlete, they don't realise what they're saying actually hurts you as well. Yeah. "Oh man, I just stuck up for you because this guy was giving you this and this and that," and you go, "Oh, okay, thanks." Okay. They think they're doing the right part, but they're just letting you know that there's people out there talking shit about you. It's like, oh, okay. But I understand that too. That's why now with the scrutiny with social media, because everyone on social media, man, they think it's they can say whatever they want.
Yeah.
And a lot of these people on social media who are saying what they want don't even have a proper picture of themselves on there. They're hiding behind an avatar, or they're hiding behind something else. Yeah, keyboard warriors, man. But it's like they've grown up with a culture which I think is wrong, that you can say whatever you want, or you're entitled to say whatever you want whenever you want, when you haven't done anything, man.
That's right. You haven't done anything. You put yourself an avatar that doesn't have your photo on it, typed in a couple of words that are pretty hurtful and unrespectful. Absolutely, man. That's the claim to fame.
Or because someone's got a reaction from it, or because someone gets retweeted, or someone gets a bit of notoriety on social media on a particular platform. They want that. They go after that.
So even back in those days, you were getting stuff like that happening to you?
It wasn't social media, man. It was on Talkback. It was radio Talkback. And I think there was times there where I was a bit of a whipping boy. And hey, that's what happens, right? Because I think that's the funny thing about the job. When you want to be a part of a team, and when you need to reinvent yourself, or you need to be an important cog of the wheel, that in that team that makes that wheel go around, you've got to find your place, right? And at that time, for us, Mick Watson had a big push and emphasis on me being that aggressive guy, that guy who would push the barriers a little bit. But the problem with doing that sometimes, like sometimes I'll be happy as going to a game, man. I don't want to put on my angry head or my angry face, man. But it's like, okay, you've got to do that because that's what's important for us. And then sometimes my poor wife in the car on the way to the game, oh, you're not going to get into anything today? No, darling. But you get there and then you've got to do what you think at the time is good for the team, or from what the coaching staff wants from you. The only problem with that, sometimes it got pushed a little bit too far, or you cross the line, but it's not an easy place to stay in, right? But at one stage, like if you go over to Australia and you go see other players, man, and they love that enforcer. That was really good. But there was a time or a period here in New Zealand where I copped a bit of flack for that, and that's fine. So I decided to leave. But that's the way it is, man.
So that was part of your role as a.
That was my role, man. Because I wasn't at first, but then every time I had a fight or got into sort of a situation like that, we for the record, we never lost. We never lost. Never lost the game. Even like I remember playing the Bulldogs. We were down at Mount Smart, and I think they had won 17 in a row. And we were coming back from the number 2 field, number 4 field up the top, and we were walking through, and Willie Mason was in the Bulldogs, and he was walking back, and it took a while. Stacey was leading us out, and let Blurs get in the way, and then I just pushed him out, get out of the way, Willie. He said, well, Monty settled down, and Stacey was looking up, and I said, no, you got to get it today, boy, with a few more expletives. He said, no, you just, and I won't say what I was saying, but I was really giving it to him. And then if you go back into that game, the first run he came, he copped it. Second run he came, he copped it. Then the next run he came down the sideline, and then he copped it from Lance or higher. And then he got taken off the field. And so I'm pretty sure that game was like they had won 16 or 17 in a row, and then they lost that game. They lost that game in Mount Smart. Now over time, William Mason realised how strong he was and about the leadership that he had, and he became a really good guy. But on that particular day, I saw myself in a position where I could just use that to sort of intimidate. And then also I think a couple of the tackles early on, we put a few shots on and we stood over a few guys and sort of let them know all day. Nothing too bad. But it's it's not marbles. And if they know they're going to come to Mount Smart, they're going to walk away feeling sore, or even just getting those first couple of touches, like when you fight, part of Lolo's game plan is let them feel you early, so they know what it's going to be like. You sort of set the tone a little bit, and if we let them feel us early in their game scenario, we let them know it's going to be a hard day at the office. And then you got Villa coming, then you've got Fecco running, and then it's like, oh man, I don't know if I want to be here, right?
How about your dad, Monty? How was it growing up in a family where you had a famous dad? Like,
it was crazy, because like everyone knew my dad. So why does everyone know my dad? And then your dad is this, and even over the years when you're a little bit older, and every night out, and when you've got some of the Pacifica taxi drivers, man, it's always, oh, you're Monty Betham, son, and then you talk about that. But like early on, I think there was 2 parts to it. One part was awesome, as it helped you get a foot in the door sometimes, because people knew, oh, Betham, and they understand that too. But then sometimes it also puts a bit of pressure on you. But for me personally, having two parents like that and having my dad do what he did from humble beginnings made me think that things were very achievable. You know, I was a little bit naive as a kid, thinking, man, if Dad can do that, then I can do that. You know, and then you had that feeling. My mum and Dad had put together a lot of scrapbooks over the years, so I got to see what my dad had done. And then thankfully, after school one time, I think it was like in the Form 1 period, the Year 7s now, they got a whole lot of tapes, VHS, the old days, videos that come home of his boxing fights. And man, I was just like, wow. And I just sit in there and I'd watch him, and I'd watch him go to work. And I didn't have the appreciation of how good he was really still at that age, even though I knew he had done wonderful things. I knew that he'd, been in the top 10 in the world at one stage, won various bouts and so on, and even spent some time in Miami with Angelo Dundee and Muhammad Ali. But I was like, man, this is Dad, you know. So it was pretty cool. So going back to your question, and it just it helped me, not directly, because he wouldn't push me like that. He wouldn't say a lot, but when he did say a lot, it did say something, I'd listen. It hugely inspired me, and either that inspires you and you want to pick up the ball and run with it, or it inspires you and you think, oh yeah, cool. Or sometimes it might be just, hey, yeah, like they had an old replay of my rugby league the other day. My son just walks past. Sweet, not bothered, not fussed. Sweet, son, cool, not for everyone.
Yeah. Well, your dad would have installed in you, just by his actions, hard work, commitment.
100.
I mean, to become as good a boxer as he was, that's not an easy path either, right?
Work ethic, man.
Yeah.
Work ethic, sacrifice. You know, that was all. And even my mum. My mum was like that too. My mum used to take me to my league games or my karate tournaments. She was amazing, man, and I love my mother for that. Couldn't always take my dad because, you know, he'd be very vocal on the sidelines. You know, when you're playing against some of the Mangarees clubs and teams and that, and when there's a bit of banter back and forth, we don't want my dad in that situation. Because he's, let's just say, he's a passionate man. But I think between my two parents, I had the right sort of fostering of what I needed growing up. And then it was also myself. I don't know how I came about it, but seeing what Dad done and wanting to impress him and getting sort of, I believe, hooked on, you know, because it's hard to get praise out of my dad from an early age, but then when you got a little bit of praise for doing something, you enjoyed it, you want a little bit more, so you push that boat out a bit. But if you do something, do it right. One of my dad's favourite sayings is, don't tell me, son, show me. And I've used that today, man, because like everyone out there on social media and giving these quotes and doing this, man, it's like, don't worry about the quotes, just do something and let's see. You know, and then that's an old school saying too, man. Don't tell me, just show me somewhere. I get that. Yeah, cool. And then as a result of that, early on, the work ethic, the fitness, trying to impress him, I sort of become my blueprint for just carrying on that sort of high performance sort of mentality, I guess.
And speaking of that, you've got Monty Betham's Step for Life Foundation.
Oh yeah.
And that's been going for 10 years.
10 years. My sister. She's
Chanel.
Shante.
Right.
She's done well, man. She was, so I was having breakfast one morning, 11 years ago. We've been going for 10, just celebrated not so long ago, and I was looking, surfing the net and having a look on the net and having breakfast, and always proud of where we rank on the world stage. But this time I wasn't proud, man. This time we were third in OECD for obesity, and in particular youth obesity. And I was going, man, nah.
Pacific people or New Zealand?
Well, New Zealand, but obviously we've got a big portion here that is Pacifica. But I was looking there and I was going, nah, man. Then I thought about my upbringing, and you know, I was a really chubby kid as a toddler and coming through, and then my family got me into karate at an early stage, and then I think about what I've been able to achieve and how my life's been as a result of sport, and maybe if I didn't use my vehicle properly and I didn't change my mentality, I wouldn't have been able to do that. So, you know, I thought, no, man, I've got to do something about it. So I got on the phone and rang my sister straight away, man, I found my calling, this is what I'm going to do. And then I hung up, and, and then I rang up and spoke to her again. And why I mention her is because she's the co-founder, she's the general manager, and she was essential because she spent a long period of time helping me put that together, and she runs the day-to-day part of the business now, which is helping the families. Yeah.
So people interested in this? What?
Yeah, it always gets a little bit harder because at first we opened up to a lot of people. It didn't actually work with a lot of people, so it is youth because we work with the kids and the families. But right now we're in particular schools, so it makes it a little bit more difficult because of COVID and everything else. Steps for Life.co.nz, jump on there, send an email through, and you can always inquire if there's some help, or you want to help volunteer, or just be across it or on the newsletter and part of the database. That's probably the best way, man.
So what is the foundation? What do you expect?
It's a youth obesity. It was originally when we first started, but now it's health and wellness, because we realise it's not just obesity. We realise there's a lot of stuff happening psychologically. We realise there's so much involved with the kids. So there's all sorts of stuff on there, like goal setting, alternatives, supermarket tours, healthier ways or healthier alternatives to cook meals. There's some psychology programs in there as well. There's a lot in there because, man, it's hard enough being a kid growing up today, because I think when we grew up with the best times, the easier times, today, man, it's really hard, but with the side effects of the mental health, with the physical health, and that being a problem from an early age, it just really hampers our kids to grow up to be all they can be. So I think they just need the help with that,
It's almost like I've been watching Match Fit with
awesome,
league players and all that sort of stuff. You almost kind of need, and given your background on TV, face for TV for sure, you almost need like a life fit show where you sort of profile these stories and sort of have these interventions where you help these kids and people within the foundation to make those transitions, to make those healthier choices, and to be exposed to the right sort of support. So in terms of longevity, they have much better lives.
Oh, absolutely, man.
A good thing.
When you're a kid, you don't understand, and sometimes even as adults we don't understand that this vehicle is our one and only vehicle we've got for our life, and what we do with it is essential, because that's it, right? And so, like, I'm a creature of habit, and because I was not the most talented person, I was always about high performance and the best I can get out of my body through preparation. And I think that helped with Mark Elia when he was our Auckland coach one year, and he was like, if you fail to prepare to fail. So when we made the Auckland team the following year, I had done that after missing out the previous year, and that reinforced what I did that whole summer, because I prepared. And then I was able to succeed as a result of preparing, because I was ready for it. And I think for a lot of the people now is and for me, like, I know that if I go out there and I have my workout clothes set up the night before I get to bed, because I know I'm going to start the day that way, it's going to put me in the right frame of mind. Or if I know that I need to eat well for a particular part of the journey, because I need to be back down to my fighting weight, because I know when I'm at my fighting weight, my headspace is good, everything else is good, then I can contribute as a father, I can contribute as a man in the place of work, I can contribute as a dad, I can do everything I can do properly and well, because you're sharper, because you react better. And you know what, to be honest, man, because your mood's better, when you wake up and you're feeling what we call fighting fit, you're a better person to be around. I'm a better person to be around, so that's why it's essential I do that. And then as you get older, as we do, unfortunately, we just gotta it's even more important to look after your body, functionality, being able to do stuff with your kids. Man, so my friend Henry Perenata is back from Australia right now, and the other day we played touch was Henry, myself, and my son. And Henry loved playing with two generations, playing with me and then with my boy, and like being able to do that at this age, and hopefully for a few years to come, that sort of stuff is cool. But then I just need to be the best I can be, so I can help be a better father, because that's still work in progress, man, and I know I need to be better, and or just help be able to provide for my family, and not just financially, provide through love, provide through whatever it takes to be the best person in that role. We've got to change our love for our kids, like from an early age, man, and we're all guilty of this, man. We want to give our kids what they want, and a lot of them want the nice things like the food, and then like feel good today, and you come home after school and do really well. I'm gonna buy you ice cream, and because I love my son and they just done something really nice, well here you go, here's another treat, or if you do this, we'll reward you with something else you like, which is normally that, or PlayStation or whatever, and then that stops you from doing bits and pieces. But for a lot of people out there, you don't always have to be fully motivated. Like motivation is not always there, and there will be days where you have shit days and you don't want to do anything, man, and that's cool, man, but that's where discipline comes in, right? So if you have motivation plus discipline, like there's days that I'm not motivated, bro, and I don't want to do shit, but I'm disciplined. I need to be disciplined because I know, like you're saying, my kids, or I know I'm going to be a better person if I do the right thing. So I fold my clothes, get them up for the next, put them away in the morning, no matter what I'm doing, so I know I've got the right mindset and I've got it there. So if I get up in the morning and I walk past my training clothes, man, that's an embarrassment.
Let yourself down.
So that's high performance in terms of not athletic ability, but that's a mindset, and like I've got to be committed and I've got to be disciplined enough to do this, because there's times when you're highly motivated and you're going really well and you're flying and you want to do it. That's the easy times. It's when you do it when no one's watching, or when you're not motivated, that makes a difference.
Coming back from an injury.
Yeah, just whatever it is, man, and because as a result. And also, if I told you what I had this weekend in terms of food, you'd be like, oh, stop it. But I know what works for me, and I know that, okay, that's enough for me now, because I need to just get down to that fighting weight so that my mentality is right, so I feel sharp and everything else. And then sometimes I have my little mini goals, and they may not even be goals that are, or they may be superficial, they may be shallow. It doesn't matter if that just keeps you on track for a little while. Like, for example, I might be going away with the family in a month's time, so I'll just give myself a little, you know what, man, for 1 month I'm not going to have this, and I'm going to do this, I'm going to set out this and that, and then I just tick the boxes as I go. Get up in the morning, just tick that box. Don't think about a month, just think about the micro, just think about every little step as you take, and then tick that one, that's a day over. After that, then that's the next day over, that's a week over. Wow. And then you just keep going. If you get those little wins early on, you get some momentum that way, it's good. There was someone I saw on social media, and they said, if you get a flat tire in the car, you go around and smash all the other tires and puncture them too? No, you don't. So if you have something to eat and it's that bad, don't go, stuff, that's and I'm bad because I'm all in. We're all in. Us athletes, everything, we're all in. So like, man, if I go in, I'm going to smash it all. So over a time, we're just trying to change that mentality. You've got that voice in your head. Like I tell people, man, if it's a good voice and if it's talking well to you, turn it up, man. But if it's one of those voices that are bad, man, just shut the thing off, man. Don't even listen to it.
The best way to shut that off is going for a run, right?
Yeah.
Because you're so busy focusing on your breathing.
But I'm even talking about that voice in your head where it's going, stop. Just don't listen to it, man. And you just got to shut it off. But like, for a lot of people out there, everyone's got struggles, man. Like, I've got struggles, bro. I sometimes go home and go, man, I want to eat this, or I want to do that, or man, this sucks. I don't want to get up and run the next day, or whatever. Man, we've all got it, bro. But you just got to go back to your purpose. You got to go back to, that motivation helps, but what keeps you motivated, but also that discipline side of it. And if you get that mix right, it's going to be, and you're going to fall off, just jump back on, man. Or if you fail, if you don't make 4 weeks, but you make 3 weeks, productive failure, man. Because that's awesome, bro. Like, you've done really well for 3 weeks. So it's, man, it's not easy, but it's, like they say, dreams are free, reality isn't, man. Like, everyone can dream, which is good. Dreams are free. But if you want your dreams to become a reality, that's when you're gonna have to pay. You're gonna have to pay in some way. Otherwise, man, you're just gonna keep watching people do things.
What about your commentating? You enjoyed that? Or are you still commentating?
Oh, I did the boxing the other night, which was good. My contract with Sky ran out, so they didn't give me a contract last year. But they've still given me that work to do. But it just depends what happens. I feel really privileged to be in a position where I can talk rugby league or the game that I loved and help me as my original platform. I feel really privileged to be able to commentate boxing, to talk about these athletes as well, and also for the people at home who are watching who don't have an understanding of how difficult a particular sport is. I love the fact that I can, in some way, give them some insight to what the individual is going through, the athlete is going through, the sacrifice, or just give them a few more little bits of understanding to what's just happened, so they have a bit more of appreciation for it. So that's pretty cool, man. But even going, I'd say 2016 Olympics, I went to that.
Yes.
I was like, what? And I was doing the equestrian. I was doing. I was there for our first silver medal. You know, first medal of the games, all that type of stuff. I was like, wow, man, how does that happen? That was never on my radar, man. Like a boy from South Auckland, because obviously I was never in any of the Olympic sports. But to be there as a journalist, you know, sort of representing Pacifica and the rugby league fraternity and the fight fraternity over there, that was pretty special, man.
That was special.
It was pretty cool going to Rio and doing that, eh?
So. Just two questions. We'll close it off shortly, dude. But the toughest player you've ever played in league?
I'd say someone like Gordon Tallis, eh, man?
Gordon Tallis?
Yeah, Gordon Tallis, because, you know, like, he was a beast in every way. He was a leader. He could hurt people. He could score tries. Never forget that tackle against Hodges when he threw him out over the sideline, ragdolled him, you know. And he could throw them too, man. He could throw them, but, like, you know, like, I always put it down to this, and I haven't updated that for a while. But I used to say, people go, like, if my life depended on it, and there was two players to pick in the team, the back would be Andrew Johns, because he could do the same. He could intimidate, he could hit, he could score points, he could lift the team, he could create, he could do it all. And then Tallis was the forward, so they were always the two ways. But man, I've been blessed to play with and alongside some and against some amazing people over the time, you know, during my era. So it's been pretty cool.
What about Israel? You're kind of good friends with Israel,
right?
Israel's you commentate King in the Ring?
Yeah. I've been there to celebrate him and do some interviews with him. I remember watching him for the first time ever, and this was when he won, I think it was a fight. He didn't actually win King of the Ring, it was just a fight, it was a super fight on King of the Ring. I was like, wow. And then at that time I was at City Boxing with Lolo, and he came in for some physio, and I was like, oh, this guy, because I looked at him and I was amazed at what he could do, and then the way he was talking, I was going, but I don't know, because it's not the Kiwi way. Not that I'm hell-bent on Kiwi way, because I like that, but when I met him, bro, this was way before he got any real success and notoriety. Man, what a humble dude. Humble guy, especially now. Like, you've got The Rock, you've got people messaging him, texting him, freaking out over him, having selfies with him. But that dude just gives his time, bro. Like, for my charity, for other people out there on podcasts, he's an amazing human, man. And, like, I don't think people realize how much of a freak he is and how revered he is around the world, eh? He's a global superstar, man.
The good thing with Israel was that his stardom came quite late. So he'd gone through his 20s, and now he's in his 30s. He knows what it's like for the hard work again. And now he's ready to handle it mentally and physically.
He's had some tough times, man. Sleeping in gyms and you name it, sleeping on couches, doing everything, which is making these times even better. But I think that culture that got down there at CKB, and the fact that, like, from himself saying he gets humbled weekly from some of the fighters down there, and like there's no egos, and if you do have an ego, someone out there is going to show you up in a little bit in training and sparring, but you know, and Eugene Behrman and what they do down there, and just the culture, and Doug Viney, and that it's pretty special, man, you know.
Very special.
So my claim to fame is years ago I got to do a bit of sparring with Izzy too, man, and so that's cool, you know. You've been in the ring with someone like that, man. You know, but he's a wonderful dude. Just not so long ago, he and Joseph put their profiles together, and they helped me get an auction item and be lunch and dinner. So all these guys, man, humble heroes, man, and just the fight culture and where we rank now on the world stage in terms of our fighters. Like, you know, we've always had Jason Sadi, and we've always had Ray Seffor, Mark Hunt, you know, David Tour, you know, even Shane Cameron, all the boys. But now it's like, okay, so we've got plenty of them. Carlos Olberg's the latest one.
Man, I was going to ask you about him.
Oh, I love him. He's an athlete, bro.
Good looking fella too, eh?
He's got it all, and man, he's got work ethic.
He's
actually, like, we were down at City Boxing with him, coming through the ranks. It was funny, we had a class photo, and everyone had in the photo had the belts. He didn't have it at the time, but that's because no one wanted to fight him.
Really?
Because, like, he's a deadly boxer, and at that stage when I left boxing, he was getting into his kickboxing,
Yeah.
and he was doing his kicks, and man, it looked ugly.
Well, he's
I
got
said,
the
what are you doing, man? What are you doing?
Hardest kicks in the city kickboxing.
I've heard that, but
What?
that's because he's an athlete, bro.
Yeah.
Like he's an athlete, and like Sonny Bull, he works hard and he's got X factor, so you become a freak.
Yeah.
But like, man, he's dedicated. So it's wonderful to see him do that. He was a pretty good league player back in the day too.
Was he?
Yeah, he played a bit for Monaco and.
Oh, really?
In that regional thing, but it's, whatever he does, he'll be good.
All right, mate. Look, we've taken up a lot of your time, and we really appreciate being here. Cuz, anything in closing off?
Oh, just a big whaftai te love also for coming
bro,
on board
pleasure
and
also.
getting to meet you. And thanks for sharing all your experiences. And
Yeah.
you know, we always look on with a lot of pride when we see people like yourself that have, I guess, worn a lot of different hats and achieved in lots of different areas, but continuing to inspire and motivate other people to continue to do the same in whatever lane they're in. And that's a big thing for us. So yeah, awesome to have you.
No, absolutely. No, thanks, brother. And just on that, man, if our people believe they can do things, that's the main thing. Whatever lane you're in, and if you don't quite get there, like we said, productive failure, that's good too, because you're close enough, you know. You just got to believe, man, because that's one thing that I'll be able to believe in, no matter what I do, whether it be Dancing with the Stars, Shopping Channel, Treasure Island, whatever. I just believe that there is a process that you follow, and if you dedicate yourself to that process more than anyone else, that you've got a good chance of making it happen. And if you don't make it happen fully, man, it was a good ride. And you can take some stuff with you, and you can tick that boxes, man. But brothers, thank you very much for your time, man. Love looking around the walls of fame.
I don't know if it's fame, brother, but just from me, mate, you know, I've known you a long time. Back in the early days, in the early 90s, like I said before, and then you sort of drifted away and you went and did your thing, and what a thing it was, mate. I always look back in admiration and awe from the young fella that I knew to this gentleman now making waves in all sorts of avenues in New Zealand, and obviously in the Warriors as well, and then your boxing career. I was watching you fight Shane Cameron this morning.
Oh, well.
And then onto TV and commentating and gym and boxing training. You know, you've done amazing stuff also, and you're a real benchmark for us Pacific people, I think, especially Pacific men, to look at the example that you've set and what you've achieved. So thank you very much for coming in. Also, really appreciate your time. You're a busy man, and it was very hard to lock you down.
My bad.
But, no, not your bad at all, dude. This is a real humbling experience for me, and I'm sure for Jack as well. So thank you very much. Also, thank you very much. God bless you, and hopefully everything goes well in the future for you. Again, we'll look forward to see what you do next. All right, but for now, as I always finish off, all love, no hate. Whānau ia.